I'm doing fabulous. How you doing, Sam?
I'm excellent. It's been a hot minute since we've been on. You've been in Florida for a couple weeks,
Yeah, yeah.
and now you're back in Denver. How's the weather?
You know what? I love Denver. It's a little chilly this morning, but we're going to be almost 60 today, and I'll take that for December.
There you go. We're not to 60 yet, and everybody down here is freezing to death, and you guys are having a hot spell.
That's why one of the reasons I love living here is because we warm up in between
Yep, yep.
all the weird stuff. So it is definitely a good deal.
Yeah.
Not to
You
turn
know,
it off.
the weather is it's a person's perception is definitely the reality, right? When you
Right.
stop to think about it, we're at 57. Whereas where you're at, or in where my grandson's at in Cheyenne, 57 would be it's warm. It's warming up, and
Yeah.
but yet down here, I guarantee if you go downtown Tampa today, you will see people with the big fur hats on, Uggs, and big heavy overcoats. Guarantee
I didn't
it.
think any of y'all had all that down
Yeah.
there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You can order anything on Amazon, right?
That's
But
true. That's true.
I went out this morning. I don't remember. It was 73 in the house when we got up this morning, and I can't remember what it was when I went outside. But it's a little chilly. But then again, as your blood thins out, and then I'm on blood thinners, so you feel the chill in the air.
Right.
But I laugh at myself every time I look at that and see 57, and I'm thinking it should be just fine. But I'm not. I'm not in Wyoming anymore.
And you know what I noticed is kind of weird. We keep our house in the winter around 72 degrees, and then we let it down to 68 at night. And then in the summer, we keep it warmer just to save on the air conditioner working overtime. But 72 air conditioning feels different than 72 heat.
Absolutely.
And
72 air conditioning is running you out because it's cold.
that's the weird thing because it should be the same. It's 72,
Yeah.
right? Right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's different. And like I spent my time in Florida not because it was cold outside. I thought it was beautiful outside. I would run outside and even
yeah.
if the sun wasn't out, I was sitting out there getting warm because I'm not used to the humidity.
Yeah.
I'm not used to cold blasting like it has. I mean, the air conditioners work much harder there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I'm bundled up the whole time and everybody else is running around, and then when I go outside, so I was dressed in layers just like I would if I was here, but
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
feels different. And, I had to close the vent in my room because it was blowing on the bed and I couldn't get enough,
Yeah.
and it's actually easier to be hot than it is to be too cold.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when you're too cold, you're like this.
Yeah.
And
Everything fences up. Yeah.
and the flight
Everything.
home, when I left yesterday, it was raining, which is
Mhm.
fine. I don't mind the rain. But then the airport was freezing and the airplane was freezing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I was looking around and everybody had their vents shut off and it was still so cold.
Wow.
And I thought, this is nuts. So by the time it was a 5-hour flight. By the time I landed,
Yeah.
it was crazy. But, you know, I dress for that. I mean, I literally, I've got the jacket. I take all that with me. People looking at me like I'm crazy because I'm in Florida and I've got my boots on.
Yeah.
I'm,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
and it's kind of funny how people think talking about the weather is small talk, but when you think back in the day,
Yeah.
talking about weather had a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
the farmers, the people working, the construction guys, the weather affects their livelihood.
Yes.
It wasn't idle chatter. And now people think it's stupid to talk about the weather. Like you do
Yeah.
that when you have nothing else to talk about. But it makes sense. I mean, go to any farm community. They know the weather, they watch it, they They know what's supposed to come in the next couple of days to the next couple of weeks, and they're planning and they're making sure what needs to be done is done. And so people think it's kind of a dumb thing to talk about, but for very many people in this country, it affects their livelihood.
Yeah, yeah, and always did. I heard a rumor that the folks who do the Farmer's Almanac are not going to do it anymore.
No, really?
Yeah. I have to research that a little more, but I can't remember. I heard it on a news program or a podcast I was listening to. It's the only thing I listened to. But yeah, something about basically there's no money in it anymore.
Well, there isn't, and depending on. So I wonder, is anybody going to do anything similar?
I don't know. I don't know. Have to research that.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
That's
Crazy.
huge.
Yeah, I know. I know.
And it doesn't, and it's not just affecting the farmers, it affects construction, it affects aviation, it affects everything.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's insane.
it's crazy. So, but it's interesting the way things are changing. I asked you, what the temperature was there, and all I had to do was pull it up on my phone, and I could tell what the temperature was there because I have Cheyenne saved. I have locations saved on my phone
Yeah.
where my family's at.
Yeah, me too. And it's easy, super easy to look up. I mean, you just go and put the city and they'll tell you anywhere in the world.
You can get a 10-day forecast. You can get all this kind of stuff right on your phone.
Yeah.
And so, unless they went digital with the Farmer's Almanac, which I don't think they have, it'd be kind of tough to sell the books, I guess.
Yeah. But the Farmer's Almanac gives you much more than a 10-day look. I mean, they're looking for what they see the pattern's going to be for the year.
Right.
And I think that would be something that they'd still need to have. But,
Yep.
It's strange. We grew up depending on those.
Yep.
And maybe there is other venues or other sources that can do that, but you don't hear about them.
Yeah. Yeah, it says that the Farmer's Almanac, the one based in Maine, not to be confused with the old Farmer's Almanac, and I'm not quite sure what the difference is, will cease publication after its 2026 edition. Financial challenges in the current media landscape.
Yeah.
So the final print release in 2026 and digital content ending December 25th, December 25, 208 years.
Wow.
Huh. Interesting.
And I know it's probably harder to be accurate with the predictions because the weather over the last several years has been very
unpredictable
and out of the ordinary.
Yeah, it was funny. I was listening to and now I can't find it, but there was a gentleman reading a description of climate weather type changes, and he was going through some of the stuff that we're seeing like now, and some of the stuff we've seen over the last few years and everything. And it turns out that observation, and it was actual physical observation of areas in the Arctic, the Antarctic, the tundra, and all this kind of stuff, where all the ice packs and all that stuff were. And it described basically what we folks used to call global warming.
Right.
But it was written in 1922. And since then, the observation today is those areas that they said all the ice was gone from are now covered over again. And so, it's without getting into an argument on climate change, the climate's going to change.
Well, I mean, it's
natural.
Right. And, we could be, instead of hitting the ice age, maybe it's the burn phase of the earth. I mean, you look, the volcanoes in Hawaii are extremely active right
Yes, yes, I saw that yesterday. Yeah.
now. You're seeing horrific wildfires in places you never even think about. I don't think about Greece burning.
No, no.
You don't think about Europe catching fire, but
Right.
yeah, it's really
Yeah.
kind of weird.
So it's weather conversations, like you say, used to be very, very important, and now we kind of you're just making small talk, but really it affects just about everything. I mean, it's been cold and wet here in Tampa. We had over the weekend, we had what the port calls a fog day, which means the ships didn't come in. They
Right?
set 12 miles off and in international waters and sat there all day. And so everybody was like, so it affected everything. Everything from what time the ships got in to people getting on the ship. The traffic was horrendous. Plus, there was a hockey game that night. And the arena is within walking distance to the Port Tampa Bay. And so the weather affected everything, but there was no conversation about it in the previous days leading up to it, even
Right.
though it was somewhat predicted.
Yeah, because they're
But
not
nobody
letting
looked.
them. They're not
Yeah,
letting them talk.
right.
Um,
And I guess the best thing about the weather in this last week was Monday. It was beautiful here. We had bought our grandson Liam and his mom and dad tickets to Legoland. He loves Legos.
Legoland. Yeah.
Yes, and so he went. They went on Monday, and there were so few people in the park that they rode one roller coaster like 5 times in a row.
How fun.
Yeah, right. And so I'm thinking, wow, maybe we should have gone. Um, but yeah, I mean, so the weather affects everything we do, and we have to be prepared for it. But we can't. We have to take it as it comes. It's going to change.
Right. And as individuals, there's not much we can do about it.
No.
As a collective, there are things we can do to try to help
Yeah.
mitigate.
Right.
But the biggest thing is being prepared.
Yeah.
And, I grew up in eastern Nebraska.
Yeah.
And because I was in the school in the 60s and the 70s, we did a lot of different drills. We had the fallout drill where you go sit in the bathroom with your book over your head and you hope that you don't die from the nuclear fallout. Yeah, that's going to help.
Right.
Or you're under your desk. But then we also had the tornado drills.
Right.
And it's amazing how even that part of it has changed, because in Nebraska they follow pretty much a direction.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm in Colorado, I'm in Denver, and I'm in the foothills, and tornadoes out here behave very differently.
Yeah.
And when we first moved out here and they were coming in from the other direction, I'm like, they don't come from the east where I'm from. That's not normal.
Right.
And they come 3 times. They come down the mountain, get sucked back up, and they come down again.
Yes. Yeah. It's kind of funny. It's and here we have the hurricanes.
Yes.
And I get a kick out of it because of the unpredictability. We had a really mild hurricane season this year here in Florida.
Yeah.
There were some around us that caused some concern.
Right.
Last year was a bad year for hurricanes for us.
Yes. Very.
Yeah. And up and down the East Coast. And it never ceases to amaze me when people, and it is so true. People in Florida are not afraid of a hurricane. Hold my beer, right?
Yeah,
um, and they're not afraid of alligators, and hold my beer. But
because they're used to it.
yeah, but um, when they see, I'm trying to be, I can't. There's no way to be politically correct or tactful in this situation, but when they see a bunch of Northern and Canadian license plates,
Yeah.
that's when we get worried. um, and it's everybody says the drivers from this state are bad, drivers from that state are bad, or this, that, and the other. It's just that when people are only down here for a couple months out of the year, they don't know how to drive down here, right? Every area of the country drives a little bit differently.
Well, there's the local rules, and then
Yep. Yeah,
it's just different.
yeah, it
And
is. It is. But
there's only
it's
a
funny.
few places that I refuse to drive. Chicago's one of them, and
Yeah.
Boston's the other.
Where's that?
Boston.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I
I
made that mistake
I
once.
can be a very aggressive driver, but that's just a little beyond my
Yeah.
tolerance level.
We flew into Boston one year to visit some family up there and to see the area, and we had a rental car because we were going to go drive all the way down to Philly, and uh, I drove out to my sister's place, and I said, "Well, this is what we want to do," and they said, "Oh no, you don't want to drive in Boston," and so we took the MTA, and
Yeah.
so you can go anywhere on that.
Yeah.
I was amazed, but the silly part about it is we're right downtown Boston, where all the historical stuff is and everything else, and if you doubt the founding fathers and their faith beliefs and all that kind of stuff, you just need to go to Boston, Philly, all those places where all the historical stuff, and you'll see. Anyway, we walked from downtown Boston all the way out to a place called the No Name Restaurant.
Oh, okay.
Excellent seafood, just a really great place. If you're in Boston, you have to go there, and that's what it's called, No Name Restaurant.
I think I've heard about that one. So
Yep. And there's a whole story behind that. I forget most of it, but the funny part about it was we walked all the way down there, and I'm dying. I mean, it's just like my wife, and she's just go 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 go. Right. Come to find out, there was the MTA, the underground, that went basically from where we started and was within 2 blocks of the No Name Restaurant. So we could have
Oh,
ridden, because you buy a pass. We had bought a pass because we parked outside the city and
right.
came into the city. And it was like, okay, so we've kind of messed that up. We could have really been all over the city and not had to walk everywhere and seen everything we wanted to see. But that's just kind of some of the crazy things you do.
Well, that's part of the adventure.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing, when you're driving in some of these other areas, you really do have to pay attention to weather. There's people down here who don't know how to drive in the rain, because when the rain comes here,
You get
it
a
comes in
downpour.
sheets. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's crazy up there. I remember first snow. I never wanted to have to drive out in the first snow because of people who, number one, just
Yeah.
got their driver's license and don't know how to drive,
Yeah.
and then people who think the best thing to do in snow is to do cookies.
Well, it's fun. I don't know if it's the
It
best thing.
is in some areas. It's not fun going down the interstate.
No, no. In fact, one year we had a storm, and Jeff and I were driving to work, and we got on the highway. And as we came up around a curve, the car did a 360, and we just got off on the next exit, went home, and called in. I'm
Yeah,
like, nope.
yeah. I've done that
And I
before.
grew up driving on ice,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. There comes a point in time where you have to
well,
say,
we were looking
uh-uh.
around, going, nobody knows how to do this. We're not doing this.
Right,
You know.
right, right, right. So, folks, if you joined us today, first subscribe and like and share if you enjoy the content. Leave us a comment. Let us know. if there's subject you think you want to hear us talk about, Linda is an expert when it comes to self-awareness, self-care. She has a program. There's a QR code on the screen. If you scan that QR code, it will take you to the support equation starting in January of 2026, one of Linda's signature programs. Linda, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, what it is it's basically, we all know people who need support and we want to be supportive. And it's a program that teaches you how to be supportive without losing yourself in what they're going through, and ways to be supportive that is helpful to them, allows you to set boundaries for you, and just is a more cohesive way, because you don't want to ignore people that need help, but you also don't want to take the burden for them, because we can't. And I think a lot of times we see people struggle with that, and they, especially as parents, how many times we want to just fix something for our kids and have them not worry about it, and that's not healthy. We need to be keeping ourselves looked after as well. So it involves emotional intelligence. We do DISC personality, and we talk a lot about self-care.
So what led you to seeking this out as something that you were interested in helping other people with?
Well, I've been blessed to have an amazing support system in my life, and I have both received and given emotional support in a number of different scenarios. But what it really comes down to is I look at what my heart sister Lydia did for me and my family, and I want to pay it forward. I want to teach people how to do that and still keep themselves healthy and where they need to be. Everybody needs a Lydia.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right.
And you can be a Lydia for someone and not go overboard. And so that's kind of where that came from. I just want to pay it forward, because I know most people don't have the network I've got.
Yeah. And you're truly right there. Then having a network and having those who will support you without enabling you to lead a crazy life because you're not paying attention to the boundaries.
Right. It's so important for all of that. And we laugh because our neighbor across the street, everybody needs a Mike and Tina too, because when it snows, they come shovel. He and his son come over and they do the lawn work for us. And if there's anything we need that might be too heavy for us or too hard for us to do, they're right there.
Yeah.
And not only is that a blessing, but politically we're opposites, but it doesn't matter to them. And in this day and age, that's huge.
Yeah, it shouldn't matter.
But it's nice to see that there are people that are still living and treating people like humans.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I look at the time frame that both of us actually grew up in. You go through the 60s and 70s, and you had a few radicals on this side and that side, and I remember some of the Vietnam War protests and things like that. Yeah. And I have I've lost some friends there, and I know a lot of folks who've been and they're suffering with all sorts of things. But at that point in time, whichever side of the spectrum you were on, you could talk about it. There wasn't there wasn't the irrational thought process that is prevalent today. And to me, the conversation is what's been missing in most of our lives. And when you need support, you need to be able to talk. You need to be able. But sometimes you just need somebody who's going to sit there and listen. You don't necessarily need advice, and that's not what you do.
No, it's not advice. I teach people how to be an ear and a shoulder.
Yep. Yep.
but do it within safe boundaries,
Yep. Hmm.
because that's really what most people want.
Hmm. Hmm.
And even if your background and your job gives you license and gives you the ability to advise, if they're not coming to you for advice, don't. If they just need, and I think that's one of the most important things we need to ask is,
Yep.
um, I love how Brene Brown puts it. What does support look like for you right now? And that's huge because, again, we need to remember that it's not about us. We're there to serve, and we need to
Right.
be able to serve in the capacity that they are able to receive it.
Right. Right. And so, just so you know, folks, if Linda and I have been a good support system for each other, but I can tell you, when Linda asks me, "What do I need?" I know what she's asking, right? And because she has been a support, and sometimes it's just prayer, sometimes it's just an ear. Um, but between the two of us, when we work together like this, we have boundaries and we don't cross them.
Right. And it's so important just for your own mental health and well-being
Yes,
to
yes,
be
absolutely.
to be good with those boundaries. And where we find it hard to enforce those and to stay with them is when we're dealing with family and very close friends.
Yes, yes,
And you still need to have those boundaries, um,
yep,
because, and the way I kind of coach it, I would love to say, do it for yourself, for your own mental health and well-being. But for many people, they put themselves last so often that that doesn't get through.
right, right,
So then think about the consequences of what happens if you overdo
yep,
and you're not available to do the things you're doing right now. What
right,
happens? What happens to everybody? Who takes care of the kids, the
right,
spouse, the
right.
parents you're looking after? What happens if you own it? And I know from experience, what happens when you're a solopreneur and suddenly you're out for 8 weeks?
Yep,
You know,
yep,
if you're not working, you're not getting paid, right?
right, exactly, exactly.
And we need to remember then that self care isn't selfish. It's
Hmm.
essential because if you won't do it for yourself, do it for your family, do it for your business, do it for your loved ones, do it for whoever it is that you're putting yourself out for.
Hmm. Yeah,
Because unless you
absolutely.
have a backup plan, and God forbid something, you pass,
Right.
then what? There's no going back and fixing it later.
No, no, there's not. So we started talking about the weather. What's the weather like in your mind today? Is it snowing? Are you freezing people out? Um, are you bringing sunshine into people's lives? Um, we create our own weather
Yeah.
in relationships. Anybody who's been in a relationship knows it can be warm and cuddly, or it can be cold and icy.
Or it can be a tornado.
Yes.
And we just have to remember that, kind of watch your tongue because you can't unsay things.
No.
You
No.
can apologize, you can really be sorry, but you can't take back the
Can't
words.
unsay them. That is correct.
And so you have to kind of quiet the tempest before you open your mouth.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Linda, this has been fun today. Any last thoughts for our audience?
Just, since you can't change the weather when you walk outside, find a way to enjoy whatever it is it's doing.
Go back and look for somewhere on there. We have a short video of somebody dancing in a hurricane. So,
Oh, yes. The woman who dances in hurricanes. Oh, that to me, that's just the best. It's like a little
yeah,
kid being out there just enjoying. You can't stop it, and it wasn't dangerous, so let's do it.
that's right. That's right. So until next time, this has been Sam McEwen with Linda Wilson, and we will see you next time. Thanks for joining.
Bye, everybody.